Greetings, this is Friana Rilamentra. Come to you with part 2 of my reaction to Exandria Unlimited episode 1, the 4-part event. Unlike the other Exandria Unlimited episodes, events, this does not follow the Crown Keepers, but instead it goes to the days at the days right before the start of the Calamity. I'm not sure if I got the facts right on it though or not. So, well, okay, we're gonna go first to the ad stuff in the first episode, and I should probably just point out real quick that I do not own nor am associated with Critical Role, its YouTube or Twitch channels, or any of its other online content. I am just a fan. Good.
Sam Riegel here. There are many relaxing properties to a Twitch subscription to Critical Role.
I think I've seen all this.
So today I'm going to tell you all about them in soothing ASMR.
I've seen this. You've seen me react to this.
Which stands
if you haven't,
for
go find it.
Subscription.
You first reacted.
Meditative reaction or something.
One of those things where it's like one of those things where it's like, yes, it's her family hoaxes that you see in the Parade of Beasts.
Oh, no, they were wrong, and you find ether of raw magical energy back into the lands of Dominus.
What the heck? It was way further than I thought.
Sam just said taint. Hi, folks, and welcome back to Exandria Unlimited Calamity. I am your GM, Brennan Lee Mulligan. We rejoin those members of the... You did.
It's funny because it's true.
The important thing is this. We return to Exandria in an age-long past in the flying city of Avalier. I would describe the place that we return to in Avalier, but it might be rude of me because it doesn't belong to me. So I might ask for someone else at the table to describe it. But I will say this. The day has passed and many of your responsibilities have taken you abroad. This is the last day before the city of Avalier will land and make good on its ancient pacts by releasing its store of ether, of raw magical energy, back into the lands of Dominus to replenish that continent and make good the promise to the druids of old Toramunda that a new age will come, an age of flourishing, of magic. In the year following a replenishment, crops explode throughout the land, and often a generation of magical children will be born, and there will be a revitalizing. The Fae will flourish, and doors to lands of wonder and plenty and magic will open. The replenishment is such an important time for the many cultures of Dominus. And for many days now, that continent, you've seen fireworks going up. As you approach Cathmoira, you see all the villages and towns surrounding it send up fireworks, kites flying. As you approach Cathmoira, you begin to hear it. You are now close enough as the sun lowers off the western edge of the city, the choirs of Cathmoira singing. Far off, but even here above the clouds, you hear the distant but palpable songs of welcoming, a return home. A month of rest and repair on arcane infrastructure and all manner of civic defenses and technology, but also return home in a spiritual way, in an emotional way, a return to the earth. The release of magical energy and a reuniting of the mountain that once was a very historically significant mountain. As the sun sets, shadows grow long. As the sun sets, shadows grow long, and you find yourselves hearing festivities, and the parade of beasts begins, and you can hear revelry all throughout the city. It's kind of wild to throw a party the night before a month of parties, but what the hell? Let's get it started. This is the last party before you have to party with all the people from the ground. So let's party now, Wizards of Avalier.
That's a private party.
Exactly.
Ew.
And normies.
Are there normies here?
Speaking of parties, we look over the vast city, the roaring cheers of taverns in these harbor-side neighborhoods. We see harbors on the east and west shelves of Avalier with docked sky ships with their broomstone on either side of the ship's decks. We see going up Excelsior Plaza, just awash in multicolored light as everyone gathers there to cheer in the replenishment. People will be partying here all night. They will party until dawn to welcome the replenishment. The scythe has libations flowing freely until the dawn, and then Caro Hulks with cots and beds at the ready will ferry people home to sleep it off.
You're welcome. You're all so welcome. Wow.
However, there are some parties that are not only just for festivities, but for the well-to-do to see each other. And perhaps the most prestigious of these pre-replenishment galas now unfolds at the Palazzo Porco. Marisha, your ancestral home, a palace for wizards. Feel free to describe, if you would be so kind, the visage of this place that we now see before us, and perhaps any preparations that Pesha has made in advance of this once every 7 years must attend gala.
Yes, what nobody saw was moments before guests arrive, Portia was clamping and clopping around.
Should I,
Pesha, sorry, that's my character.
Sweating this gal.
Yes, I forgot my own name for it. Jeez. Oh, goodness. Pesha. Who am I?
the stress.
Who are any of us?
Planning a party hard.
She's kind of prancing around the foyer, and she is barking at her servants, and she turns to Melindra and is like, Melindra, are all the gift baskets ready for everyone from the Septarium who may be arriving?
From the Sept... Well,
Yes.
My lady, we are not expecting any from the Septarian...
No one responded.
Well, many from the Ring of Gold will be in attendance. The apprentices of the Septarian will likely be here. But I believe the Septarian are Sorry, I have extra gift baskets, and
And all of them have the 200 wands that we were expecting from Nidus, correct?
yes, those wands actually did arrive. Some of them had to be cleaned because there was some juice. I think some children may have gotten their hands on some of them.
They weren't new wands?
No, they were brand new. I believe some sorceress youths may have.
I'll speak to Nidus. And the guild masters are all arriving, and all of their packages have arrived as well.
The entire Octothird will be in attendance.
Fantastic.
Those most significant chairs of the Magisterium. The Court of Workings, of course, will be in attendance, as well as the Court of Owls. The guild masters, the hierophants of the 8 guilds. They are all coming. Do we? Many of them have asked for some extra guests in the previous hour. Do we want?
Yep, there it goes.
Plus ones.
People heard the siren alarm.
Moments before a party starts. Just, yes, anyone can come. It is the replenishing.
Very well. I will see to that right away. And we do have actually a guest. That was requested by one of the managers. There's a so sorry. There's a young man who boarded in Vasselheim, who wished to come. That was requested by actually a member of the Ring of Silver. I believe he is a champion of the divine.
Champion of the divine. And who is his steward from the Ring of Silver?
Magister Hollow.
Hollow?
Yes.
Good. If he creates any commotion or treason, we know who is responsible.
Of course. I don't think he'll get up to much of a fuss. He's sort of a nobody, I think. I think it's sort of here as a sort of party quirk.
Never trust a nobody, Melindra.
You are so right.
All right. Please go just to make sure that the hors d'oeuvres and the beverages are all settled. And
He's bringing a wolf. Is that bad? He's bringing a wolf. I was told he was bringing a wolf. There's just gonna be a wolf.
Fantastic.
A wolf is a terrestrial creature. It's a it's a dog, basically.
Can the wolf speak? You know, like the sphinxes that you see in the Parade of Beasts.
Oh, the sphinx. I actually quite enjoyed that sphinx. Sorry, too forward. I will see if the wolf can speak. I believe I will see if the wolf can speak.
Fantastic. I guess we'll all be finding out soon, won't we? And she turns around in her foyer and she kind of starts sauntering her way to the grand double doors in the front. And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, it's her family home, but it kind of more belongs to the Magocracy at this point. She doesn't really stay there. It's like the Hearst Castle, and in that way. And but it is made of the same kind of white, cream-colored marble that the rest of this district is carved in, and it kind of has this smooth transition with giant crystalline windows in the front that almost have like an iridescent quality to them, and ever so often the image shifts and portrays like a different stained glass relief in front of them. And then when you walk in, there's kind of these like levitating gardens kind of up in the corner, giving us these like fresh air. It smells like a rainforest directly after a storm, and little tricklings of water pouring off of the side of these levitating gardens, kind of vanishing to nowhere. And along the lines kind of carved in this rich marble that you see everywhere are kind of almost like golden and sacred geometric inlays that ever so often flash with like an arcane energy that pours across it, that you can see is like this entire house is just essentially wired with arcane ability.
Incredible. Illusory trumpets blare, announcing the arrival of the first guests, and you see that they begin to arrive. As the sun sets, it is now fully, if you look to the east, you can see like the first stars. But if you look to the west, the sun has moved behind the continent of Dominus, but you still see like pink and rosy golden light clinging to the edge of the sky. The floating gardens are now filled with revelers. The wizards of Avalier, the magocratic government that is here and assembled, as well as various other potentates and important figures, begin to usher into the Palazzo Porco. And as they do, illusory voices ring out announcing them. Member of the Octothurge and Dean of the College of Necromancy, Magister Hollow moves out. Names, one after the other, ring out. As you all arrive, do all of you, does anyone care to describe their entrance into the party?
Oh, God.
Wow.
This is an island full of nothing but divas.
Sarah obviously likes to fly in. He likes to just do a couple circles around the gala just to see who's taking their time, who's talking to who, clock what's happening, and then land far from the entrance before he tucks his wing back in. And actually, he doesn't enter right away. He kind of throws his hood up, and he is a 6 foot tall Ice Fura, but he still stands back a little bit and just clocks who's going in, who's talking to who's arm in arm together.
Did I notice Sarah coming in?
You know how Sarah enters. Sarah does not like his name announced and broadcast as he enters.
I just kind of peek at the corner of my eye up at him, but not even really looking at him, just enough to where I signal that I'm aware of his entrance.
Return the signal. No.
Incredible. Sarah gets there early. The place is still filling up with revelers. You begin to hear beautiful music playing again from groups of bards that have come here to play music, singing ancient songs of the creation of Avalier. And this is, after all, the Feast of Emir. This is dedicated to the memory of Paisha's grandfather, the mage. There were 7 archmages of original Avalier, but this is the mage who finished the spell to enchant the broomstone and lift the city into the sky. Who else arrives?
Before I arrive, one of my the Herald's Tome, my newspaper, is delivered throughout the city with inside these magical pneumatic tubes. There's no tubes. Mm-hmm. They just sort of free float around the city.
Get down!
But one of these pneumatic tubes enters before me and is delivered magically into the hand of the person, the caller who's announcing folks. My entrance begins far deep into the courtyard outside. Mm-hmm. I'm dropped off, not at the front door, but far away from it, so I can walk slowly towards the front door, trying to avoid attention as much as I can, but secretly wanting it. And complaining that I was dropped off so far away that I have to now endure the paparazzi.
People looking around. You do see that there are like clusters of wizards who are like still in the sort of area of like public, where it's like on the street, like, there he is, it's Loquacious-Seelie!
Yes, I don't have much time. I really don't. I must go inside.
I have to tell you, I've been reading the tome for 20 years. You're
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Make sure to renew the subscription next month, and I'll keep walking.
I love your work. You dart in, Loquacious-Seelie, Herald of Avalier, voice of the council and scribe of crowns. You see, people actually turn and give a genuine round of. Some people get like a golf clap. There's a true hooray as you enter in.
No, really, it's too much. It's too much.
You enter in. I think probably, Paisha, you recognize that Loquacious is going to be mobbed in the entrance hall until he is rescued. Like, everybody here, you see, someone come up and say, like, Mr. Seelie, it's such a pleasure to meet you. If I can, my name is Madara Glyph. I'm the valedictine abjurer of the Hall of Symbols.
I think we must have some mutual friends.
I work with I work with the architect Arcane, though not in her capacity as member of the court of working. She actually is doubly employed in the Abjuration Guild. I was wondering if I might impress upon you to.
Interrupt. I let it happen long enough that he does start getting annoyed, and then I walk up and I say, "Oh, excuse me, please. Allow our guests some breathing room."
Paisha, lovely to see you. Thank you for having us. This place looks amazing as always.
Of course.
Where are we sitting? Where is everybody?
Come on, we got a table in the back.
You come with a +1.
Let's say yes.
Oh.
Let's say yes.
Who did you bring?
I brought. It takes me a second to remember her name.
Love it.
Okay.
But her name is Bolo, I think.
Bolo?
She's a friend of a friend. We were sort of set up. This is the second time I've ever met her. She's gorgeous, isn't she?
Melinda mentioned that people were asking for +1s.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I told everyone that would be fine. So.
All right, fantastic.
Nice to meet you, Ambola.
No! Come on, man!
How many does she has?
Bolo wants to be a reporter like me.
Eventually, I'm going to be a reporter.
I've taken her under my wing, and I think she's got a bright future.
This is disgusting. I don't like one part of it.
This your house?
Yes.
Who's that Bolo in the
Yes.
city?
You know what, Bolo? Why don't you go fetch us some drinks and just do some mingling, you know? There's a lot of stuff that you can hear by picking up on people's conversations in these events. You might get some leads and clues. So start practicing, maybe take some mental notes and get us some drinks, all right?
In Aor, sometimes it is illegal to ask these questions.
From Aor. You know, it's fascinating. I heard that there was some stowaways from the last time we visited
Oh, she's
Aor.
not a stowaway at all. I sent a letter and had her brought here. So
Yes.
No, sorry,
You
I
want
just...
drinks?
yes, please.
Okay. She walks off.
Isn't she delightful?
You can kill everybody. You're gonna kill us all.
Fantastic.
I think her name is Bolo.
I think her name is Bolo.
That's the
Anyway.
most famous dude thing in the world to do. I've brought the most random person.
I think.
Bolo means hello in Aorian or something.
I think her name's Bolo.
She's really just saying, "How are you?" every time.
Anyway, where are our friends? Where's the circle?
Well, Saris is making his usual rounds, and I believe we're still waiting for the others.
Nidus will roll up at this point. An army of, let's say, 700
Hodmadad?
700 Hodmadods are carrying a full-size tree. Where's the rarest place in the world I could acquire a tree from?
Oh, wow.
So sick.
Okay, at this time, Marquette is not yet desert. So the rarest magical tree you can find is in the thick jungles of Marquette, many days' journey past the nearest village, deep into the wilderness.
So we got one of those.
You see a scintillating tree. So hundreds of brightly colored arcane scarecrow automata carrying a tree whose bark is twinkling lapis lazuli and whose leaves are a deep, like almost black purple that continuously blooms into enormous, bright, the lightest pink blossoms all over the tree. A bunch of Hamadas come in, go up right to Melindra and be like, Hello, milady. Where would you like one magic tree, courtesy of the golden scythe?
I join. I walk up.
I like the hot me dots.
The hot-
I'm like, no, go ahead, guys. No,
I think that also there's 700, so a bunch of the Hamadas are just like hors d'oeuvres, just like stuff.
I go up to Nidus.
Yes. A gift to the family, Porco, both to you and to your grandfather's continued vision.
Nidus, you always bring the best treasures.
Well, for the best people. Nothing else will do.
And then I just kind of start to loop my hands around, and you see arcane sigils form into a disc that extend out, and I lift the tree kind of up and make it like this centerpiece of the party that's kind of levitating over everyone's head and rotating.
You do me such an honor.
Well, it has to have front placement.
Nidus, give me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, that's a cool 24.
You clock a bunch of wizards around the party looking at this tree going, fuck, and like looking at like a like nicely wrapped jewelry box and being like, what the fuck?
Nidus, I see business is booming.
Oh, loquacious indeed. Here at the replenishment, the Golden Scythe and Avalier along with it have never been better.
Amazing. I've been balancing some new sponsors. Maybe we could talk about sort of sharing some details. Maybe you could even. I was thinking on your little automatons.
Yes,
that you
yes,
have.
the hot me dots.
If
What are
I
they
could-
called?
Hot-me-dots.
Did I say it right?
Hot-me-dots, yeah.
Okay, great.
If we
On the hot me,
worked out a deal, could I slap like a logo on some of them if I got just like a little. Like a
we
fighter's
could
fee for that?
definitely work something out like that.
Oh,
I think we would.
Buddy,
Continue this conversation at a table in the back. I don't want to lose it. I see Laren coming.
He said like,
You guys start walking and talking. Yeah, you see a couple of Hadmadads follow behind you, sort of
We'll have to
flopping
talk
with their
about placement,
fabric.
because certain parts of the city, I think we're going to have to charge a bit more for that kind of placement.
Yeah, Laren is walking up. There's no she's wearing like a liquid gold dress that looks like a cauldron of bubbling molten gold. But it's that weird apparition where it looks like the background that she's walking across has the features. So as she's walking, that's where the source of the pattern is from. So it's just like a weird visual. But other than that, she didn't really think of adorning herself. She's too excited. And she's just walking up. She's got this little golden... It's like a wizard fidget spinner in her hand that she's kind of just snapping back and forth. That's made of this delicate gilded metal, and she's just sort of mumbling to herself, very excited. All of the energy is I'm coming here to make an appearance, and then I have to go get to work.
Incredible. Laren, with that energy, you walk into the Palazzo Porco. The herald announces as you enter this place, Architect Arcane of the Court of Workings, Hierophant Abjura of the...
I cast haste on myself, so I'm down at the bottom of the stairs as he starts talking.
You hear that the pre-recorded announcement is Hierophant and speeds up. You get to the bottom. Mark Haste.
My hair just goes whoosh as she darts past me, and I'm like, yo. Okay.
Incredible. Laren, you go to the bottom and meet with that haste, breeze past people. You're also a person that, unlike Loquacious and Nidus, have to get to that table quick because people know they can
a
get
god of
things
magic.
from these two.
It's an elven god, and
Civilians
they
don't
feel about
understand
that.
what you do enough to ask you for stuff. So you're actually safe to just approach Paisha out in the open if you want to.
I pass by you, grab a glass of champagne, and come back over. I have two. I replace yours. Hey.
Hi. So glad to see you could join us.
Incredible news.
What?
Later. Now, not. Bye. And she just takes off again towards the back.
Forgot to drop haste.
Yeah.
Too fast.
Laren, you zoom off, and Xerxes.
So Xerxes was not actually planning on showing up because these kinds of events, he's not. This is his first time as First Knight, and was not really into the first return as First Knight, and was not. Was kind of dreading this sort of a public thing, but a question for back when the kites were flying, and Xerxes was on the balcony. Oh, did I get one?
No.
Okay. Then what Xerxes would have been doing is he would have then gotten on top of Tempest, flown out and done a round in the distance to make sure everything was clear, and was going to use that as his excuse to stay out there, but decided otherwise. And you see the Griffin just soaring down into the entranceway, and kind of in one smooth motion, as the Griffin starts to slow down, Xerxes hops right off and plants his 2 feet onto the ground, sending Tempest out to scout, be his eyes in the sky, and takes a deep breath.
I just extend the glass of champagne that Laren handed to me that I haven't taken a sip from yet.
So Xerxes. Oh wait, no, you didn't walk through the door.
Oh, I'm starting to walk through, and it's I'm starting to walk. I landed in. I mean, I wish. That would be, right at the entrance, and then starts to march in.
Yeah. So Xerxes Ilres, First Knight of Avalier.
And he freezes because that is terrifying to him, to be announced in front of all these people and have perhaps eyes on him. He's just like, the complete opposite of this. He's probably frozen in his tracks.
Let me ask you a question. So you scouted and looked down at Cath Moira. Did you land in Cath Moira or no?
No. I didn't want to be seen, but I wanted to. I was looking from a distance.
In the home of Edilus Okira, even from that great height, you could see that the lights were on, and a small feast was being held. I will say this as well. Nidus, you receive a longer missive than the one from your brother from your sister-in-law, Irme, who informs you of, a little bit more than pleasantries, some family news and things that have been occurring and things that will maybe require your attention, not on a professional, but on a personal level, some friends that have come calling. And at the end of her letter to you, she says, basically, as she speaks to you, she says, Romar and Ramira are fine. Romar is planning his, adventures upon growing older, and Ramira is already completing her studies and ready to apply to some of the universities in Avalier. Elias is well. Most days are fine for him, but in the days approaching Avalier's return, I cannot report that his mood has been bright. I have done my best to instruct that he ought to send his father some word of kindness upon arrival. Please give Xerxes my apologies. Elias is at a tender age.
I was actually waiting for Xerxes. That was the last one. So
Cool.
I start making my way towards the entrance, and as I near the herald, I actually quickly and very stealthily sneak up behind him and sneak just a finger under his throat. And it has a gold piece in it. And I say, keep that name to yourself. And I'll slip up just behind Xerx. I was wondering if you were going to show tonight.
Well, I wasn't planning on it, but I've decided otherwise. What am I to expect here?
I couldn't tell you, but I do need to run something by you a little later, something a bit fishy.
I'm ready to get out of this and talk about that immediately.
I have to follow up on one other lead real quick. I'll see you at our table. Yeah, just see like, and
As you all arrive, Paisha, go ahead and describe your table, the fabled table we have heard so much about.
I escort Xerxes back, now handing him the glass of champagne. And
Take it.
and kind of hidden away in like an archway that's kind of got this open room with a few other kind of windows that can see out to the rest of the party. Hanging ivy and vines with a little like water fountain embedded into the far back wall. There's a nice little round table and some like booths on the side. You know, it's cushy.
Yes.
And and then that's where we have our little private area. Charcuterie, cheese board on the table. It's a must.
Beautiful. As you walk through the ivy rustles, approaching the table for those that are already here. As you walk and see Nidus and Loquacious already seated, you can hear, as their mouths move, just the rustling of ivy leaves. As you walk in and take a seat, and you feel a little wash of, not imposing, but a little wash of divinatory and abjurative magic. Just a little bit of, are you who we think you are? And if not, maybe I do something about it.
Cool.
But all who walk here are their honest selves. And as you sit at the table, beautiful charcuterie board set in front of you, all of you look out, protected in this ivy silence, with all of the power of the flying city of Avalier at your disposal. You look out at magisters, deans, and provosts of the flying city, apprentices of the Ring of Gold, and the 6 people who actually get shit done may finally, after a long day's preparation, have a moment to celebrate.
Where is Sarit? I saw him with you. Is
He was. He said he had something to take care of, and then he was going to come and join us at, the spot.
I'm actually chasing down the rando that Loquacious came with.
Yes!
Okay, you go over.
My best friend.
You go over, and you see that there is a Hadmadad holding a small tray of drinks, and you see Bolo's there saying, I need drinks from you, not this. And you see that the Hadmadad's like, listen, I only have a small list of pre-programmed responses. I'm not actually sentient. So if I'm saying this, you know that you've asked for something that's not included in my brain.
Good evening. I know all the faces in this gin joint, but I don't seem to know yours.
This bag is giving me a hard time.
I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't catch your name.
Bola?
Bola.
Bolo?
I am Sarit Agrupnin. My friends call me Pinch. Bola from...
Aor.
I'm starting to wonder if this is
Bola
not
from
some
Aor.
random person that
Mysterious.
whose name.
If you need anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Can I escort you?
Pre-planned.
I need the drinks.
You need the drinks.
This bag keep arguing with me.
Yes, it does. I hate it when they do that.
Can you destroy?
I don't
I
know.
sense your frustration. I'll be sure to take this up with the maker of this fine machine. Let me see what I can do.
What do you mean machine is a bag?
Yep. I'll be back. Hood up. I make my way down through the thing. I go over to Loquacious. Who the fuck did you come with?
A blur of gold comes by. Who the fuck did you come with?
Oh.
And I take back off to go find them.
Oh, you don't need to, Laren. She's just some arm candy that was offered to me by
Arm
a friend.
candy. She threatened to expire the help. Too sweet.
Well, it's going to be a fun night for me then.
I'm gonna grab that champagne out of your hands.
Laren, do you take off your flying bolo?
No, I stay.
You stay.
Friends. What did I miss?
Not much. We were just getting settled. Look at this. The first replenishment for the ring of brass. Feels right.
That's a good point.
It's a momentous day on a lot of fronts, but I feel like there's news to share. I not from me. Of course, I hear nothing, but I'm curious to know what the news is, so that I.
Before we do, though, perhaps a toast to our friend Xerxes as his first
Oh, that's right.
first night of Avalier going into a replenishment.
To the first
So
night.
hopefully
The
many
first night of
more.
the first night.
I had a drink. It was taken back.
Sorry.
Thank you. I would like to toast those that are not with us as well. To Evandrin, who should be here in this place, in this position of honor, and who would have been handling that entrance with a lot more grace than I certainly did. But thank you all, my friends. I appreciate you.
His legacy will be long-lasting.
Well, let's hope so. I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut through the pleasantries. I'm not in the best of state, and I almost didn't come, but something feels amiss to me. And I've come here to actually seek out the two of you.
Hold on. Oof, been a minute. And I take that like lethargy effect where I'm like, hold for 6 seconds. Okay, sorry, what was it?
You just magically refill Laren's glass of champagne.
I had a bit of a nightmare of sorts last night, I suppose. Maybe it's my anxiety for coming home. Maybe it's some nerves that I have from reuniting with my son. But it shook me. And I didn't know what else to do but to come and tell you about it. Evandrin was in my dream, and in it there was a fight of some sort between, I can only say, the gods.
Oh.
The father of the dawn seemed to be trying to extinguish what I could only say was one of the betrayers.
Oh.
Does this mean anything to anybody other than just perhaps a bad dream?
Sounds silly to me, frankly.
Dreams can be deeply interpretive, Xerxes. I mean, perhaps it is your anxiety of the two colliding forces of Avalier reuniting.
Felt. I understand, and the gods don't mean much to me.
Good.
But one was begging me for help.
One of the gods.
The fallen one. The betrayer.
They're all behind They're not here, though. Not like the others that walk around. I know you know that. Just...
I know that.
What did this betrayer look like?
He was red. Had a horn.
Just
And,
one? Is that Modest?
I think maybe... I couldn't remember if it was because of the way he was lying down, but I just recall seeing the side of his face and maybe one horn. Maybe if there was another one, maybe it was broken off. I'm not sure. I'm not remembering it so clearly. But I do remember something that was said. Gordranus.
Who here speaks Draconic?
Right here.
I do as well.
Throw it up. Let's go.
I knew you would.
the Gathering of Shadows. Gordranus. It doesn't mean anything to you right now. Anyone here who would like to may roll. You can roll history. You can roll Arcana, or if you have, are listening to your very troubled friend who you know is in a state of emotional turmoil and just want to roll an insight if you're not about.
You said history or
Arcana. If you're like, okay, let me take him seriously, or insight if you're like, I want to.
I'll do
12 for history.
12 for history.
I mostly think it's emotional, but I will think about, like, these words feel more, like, relevant.
Yeah.
Which would you want from that?
If you're thinking about the words themselves, any of those intelligence skills, I would take religion, Arcana, or history.
I'll do Arcana, though.
Do Arcana, yeah.
26 on insight, and I just want to glean if he's really shook by this or if he's talking about something else.
Ooh, 29 on history.
Let's go.
And 22 on Arcana.
Also 22 on Arcana.
29 on history, 22 on Arcana.
26 on insight.
Okay, so for our, we'll start with the 22s on Arcana. Gordranus is it's draconic. You would know from the Arcana check there that the term Gordranus, it is like the literal meaning is gathering of shadows. Words have connotations, right? And that's one of the hardest things when you're adopting a second language is to learn like the idioms. And it's like, if you don't speak English, what's the difference between a hearty welcome and a cordial reception? Emotionally, like those words don't land the same. Dragons aren't scared of much. Gordranus, those words mean, the connotation is an intense one. It's the kind of words that dragons would use to describe something they were scared of.
Okay.
With a 29 history check, an incredible history check, the name Gordranus comes to you from a very specific place in history. It's an ancient text from the Schism. This is a text from when the primordials. So there's a lot of stuff about the Schism in the Librarium Incantatum, right? Because the founding of Toramunda has its root in the Schism, right? The Toramunda was founded when the Emperor of Fire and the Empress of Earth, that were two mighty primordials, were laid low and sealed forever away by the Dawnfather under Mount Igora. And it was in the guise of that mountain that eventually the druids of the Gaudrashari came and built Toramunda, tending to this holy place, and over time those druids tended to it so well that other people came and sought them out, and then eventually it grew into a city, and that city eventually attracted wizards, and those wizards eventually took the top of that mountain and sailed away. But the name Gordranus from the early Schism, because in the Schism there were dragons fighting on behalf of the prime deities, there was a threat made in the epics of one of these battles during the Schism by the betrayer gods. It's attributed to different ones in different texts, but the text that at least, who knows, reliable, but the most detailed text that you remember from your encyclopedic knowledge of all of the scrolls of your library and all the tomes therein, is that it's often attributed to the Lord of the Hells. And it is, and it was, Gordranus it's just a very specific wording that he said in the battle of his defeat in the Schism when he was sealed away, where he said, like, put me where you will, in darkness I will gather my shadows to me. Wow. And Gordranus, in Draconic, the literal, so you're like, oh, that's some like specific verbiage. It's, again, 29 is a super high roll. So that's you going like, well, that's literally where I've seen the words before.
Right. It's like pulling a certain phrase out of
just a keyword.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And not one of his popular ones.
Yeah, it's like just keyword search. There you go. And then for that 26 insight.
Yeah, he's seen so much. How shook is he compared to his life experience.
This Arcana stuff, you know people. That's what you do. You are a detective. You solve mysteries. Xerxes barely could stomach walking into a room and getting attention. The idea that this dude would pop off on a, like, I had a dream that scared me, to his, like, peers, unless it was the realest shit in the world, is laughable. In fact, I would send a 26 insight, and you can roll deception against it if you want, but if you are trying to be honest in this moment.
I'm not hiding anything.
You know the fact that he's telling you about this dream means there's 20 before that he didn't tell you about. Like, the straw's already broken the camel's back.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell that there's something that was being contained that now can't be contained anymore, and it's gotta come out. I don't know what it means, and I'm coming to you because normally taking to the skies will clear my head, and I can't get this out of my head. And I saw my son in the dream, and he was 5, which I know he's not now. But
How old is he now, by the way?
He's 13.
Okay.
He'll be 14 in a month and a half. And I don't know what he looks like.
Oh, that's right. You haven't seen him since.
I haven't seen him in 7 years.
Was the last time you saw him when he was 5?
No, he was about to turn 7.
Oh, okay.
It's the last time I saw him briefly, but look, I don't want to. I know that there's other matters that we have to attend to, but I just wanted to gather your thoughts. If any of this means anything to either of you.
I recognize the phrasing. Pesha explains what the DM just explains. Perhaps this vision of the devil-looking man, maybe he was the Lord of the Hells. Maybe you're having some sort of deeper connection with that moment from the schism.
Maybe. And I don't know, as a father, maybe it's just some anxiety that I have over my son.
Could be. Maya's 7 now. Kier's 5. It's strange that you mentioned where the shadows gather. There was a crime scene that was reconstructed from Vasselheim. Some of the language and symbols that were used there were both celestial and infernal. Strange to see both. Not my thing, but unusual.
This is recent?
Very recent. You remember of course, the matron ascended. Many have tried to duplicate.
Sure, yeah. We've told that story.
Yeah, there's usually just SpaghettiOs all over the wall.
This is the second time Vasselheim has come up in conversation for me today. I was hoping to actually ask you about it, but...
Go ahead.
Seems there was some sort of happenings. I heard rumor through the grapevine that there were some artifacts stowed away here in Avalier from Vasselheim.
They mentioned that someone from the Ring of Silver was asking about them, and I could only assume that was you.
I'll say, you not only have heard about people in the Ring of Silver talking about this, Loris was from the Ring of Gold.
word travels fast through the rings.
Who did you speak with about this? It only raises my suspicion because normally these things are passed off as a copycat. Someone trying to do what someone else has done with dire effect. But the remnants of this attempt, things don't quite match up. Certain things that are left behind weren't left anywhere.
Does any of this spark my memory or any thoughts of something that would be familiar?
I would add this. Usually if it's a failure, not a lot of people are interested in things that don't succeed. But where there's success, or some remnant of it, that can draw a different crowd. The Ring of Silver, caring about this.
Well, as you know, the library incantatum has a deep vested interest in any type of extraterrestrial knowledge that should not be in the hands of dangerous people. So many people.
Perhaps it's just timing. I think there are a lot of things that have to line up in order for something like this to work.
But it wasn't successful. Most of these, as you said, aren't.
I wouldn't be the one to weigh in on that, but
How would you know about it if there wasn't something left over? Like, if there was nothing, then no one would know that anything had happened. So there's something. Is there something?
indeed, and I didn't want to detract too much from our champagne, but okay, there's a bow. I pull out from behind my cloak, tucked in between where my wings are, the half of this rusted, patinaed bow.
Can I look at it?
You sure can.
You can.
You.
I also wanted to get Zerk's eyes on this, but take it, okay?
Yeah, good.
I look at Nidus as well, just knowing that he has seen many an artifact.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it as well.
Hell yeah.
Also, I'm sure approaching.
Do whatever rolls you want to do, and if you want to do something like angled towards like whatever kind of role it is that you want to, whatever you're looking for specifically. But yeah, you see a piece of badly corroded metal, pretty heavy to the touch, and again, it feels in a place full of so much magic a little bit extra mundane, if that makes sense. Go ahead and give me Arcana rolls or Investigation rolls, or if you want to do some magic about it or use some class features, I'm also down for that.
I'm gonna Divine Sense that mofo.
Cool.
I'm gonna let the experts handle this.
Hell yeah.
22 Arcana, and I guess I'm more interested in the bow itself, origin, like the actual magical item, its origins, less what happened to it afterward.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
I got a 24 in Arcana, inspecting it with the eyes of someone who runs the engine that breaks down magical artifacts constantly to like fill the batteries.
As she's sort of looking at it, I'm just gonna do something that I've done to her hundreds of times, but not in a while, and just sort of gently rub her shoulder and inspire her.
You want to throw some bardic inspiration on that roll? Go for it.
All right. When you make contact, I think a little bit of her perfume kicks up, and it smells like Isilrin, violet, and petrichor, which were the flowers at our wedding.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
So you get a D10.
Oh my god, thank you. Come on, we're all good. Okay. High five.
Too adorable.
Hell yeah. 29, incredible. Okay. So there is a moment. I think both of you are looking at this, right? And studying it for a moment. And I think Xerxes, you say the thing that kind of cracks it, where you do your divine sense and give everyone a hand into this. You're not used to seeing something like this, but the first thing you pick up as you guys start to inspect it is for something this mundane. You've never experienced something like this. You reach out with your divine sense. It's non-magical. It's a rusted scrap of metal. And normally, things divine presence kind of keeps a pace of their magical signature. This thing is utterly non-magical. So you're like, well, I might get like a whiff of something. Powerful divine energy, specifically celestial.
Put it down, 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 put it down. Put it down.
Why?
There's something's going on with this. I'm sensing a very powerful celestial energy inside of it.
No? Magical shit all day long.
I don't think that's magical.
You don't want
made
to
of other
argue with
stuff.
her. She'll always win, or she'll say she did.
As
Not wrong.
Well, then put your eyes back on it and tell us what you see.
as you look at it with that arcana, we'll come to the 29 first. So the first thing, because I think you also get a piece of information from Nidus. Nidus, you take a set of like master like tools out of your thing. You hit this with like a tuning fork that you have that you use for it to like okay, it's rare metal. What's the metal? It makes a weird note on the metal on the fork, the one you go for the most often, which is gold, right? It makes the right noise, but there's a weird tenor to it. And as you look at it, you look over. The fragment of this bow was at one time 12 feet tall.
What?
You can guess exactly what this is because all of you watch like Nidus like listen to this tuning fork. This is made of gold, but it's not made of gold from any mine on Exandria, because this is gold wrought from the heavens themselves. This is extraplanar gold. You are what your dear friend Laren is holding is the former bow of a solar, which is a type of angel. It is the highest angel's direct servants.
Have I ever seen anything like this before? Or
You have to go through a process of elimination in your head to get here. There are jokes from back when you were on like a pirate crew back in the day. Like there were jokes about different kinds of gold, and someone used to talk about there was some cleric that like ended up being captured by the ship briefly before they could get like ransomed back off to their clergy. That was talking about like bows of pure gold wielded by solars, and a bunch of pirates would like laugh about like if I could ever get my hands on a bow of pure like. So in your head you're like, this is extraplanar gold from a bow, and just you're familiar enough with all objects of great value that you're looking at the curvature and you're like, this if you complete this curve, it only makes sense in a bow
if it goes for another 6 feet.
Yes. Right, exactly.
I think you guys watch Nidus hit this thing, and just for the next minute, it's just banging it.
Incredulous. Nidus. Nidus.
This is of the heavens themselves. This is the bow of a solar. 12 feet in length. Pure celestial gold.
With that information on a 29, you put together the pieces that you've been given. Do you think that Sarah would have shared the forensic stuff from before about the nature in which this was dispelled?
Yes.
Laren, you look at this. This, as Nidus speaks, and you know exactly what to imagine in this place, you realize the reason you have a fragment is that the bow at its center must have been shattered. And the only thing I can say is that incredible arcana, as you feel as tough as the last few years have been, the reassuring presence of Loquacious nearby, who is himself more than a mortal man. You look at this thing and realize it was shattered. In your head, you immediately go to Mage's Disjunction, 9th level spell, something that could have destroyed that. You look and look and look at this. you know how to look for the residue of a spell. This, first of all, the bow of a solar could not be dispelled by a mortal mage. And not only that, you think that this wasn't a spell.
You mean someone just...
Something
Solar?
deeper and older and more profound than a spell happened. You know for a fact that nothing Vespin Chloris did or ever could have done what happened to this. So the question that your mind immediately goes to is, Vespin didn't do this, so who did? Because when he tried whatever he tried, perhaps very quickly there was someone or something else in the room with him. And its mere presence took the weapon of one of the heaven's mightiest warriors and shattered it without effort.
Two things happen sort of simultaneously. Even as Laren explains that to the group, she begins to pocket it harder. And I want to ask you, the rules for interplanar travel usually require a bit of metal, something that you can attune to where you're headed.
Yeah.
Would this count?
It has lost all of its innate magic, but spell components rarely need to be magical. This would absolutely work for that.
And I think even as she explains it, and is very fearful and kind of gives you a furtive look at what could be powerful enough to do this right away, she can't help but smile that she has the last thing that she needs.
Announcing the champion of the Matron of Ravens, Coramar-Seelie!
Shut your fucking mouth, Brennan Lee Mulligan!
And you see walking... You see...
Very important figure.
The reactions at the table.
He should have parts the ivy a little bit so we get a good look.
Thank you.
You see, walking through the doors of the Palazzo Porco, a young man, long dark hair, light brown skin, a severe, grave expression on his face.
This guy.
And you see, he's got a wolf with him.
Yeah, we know that wolf. We know that wolf.
Walks into the party and hush goes over the gala as in this age of Arcanum, a champion of the gods has walked in. What a quaint and wondrous thing to behold. The man who walks in bears terrestrial mud on his black leather boots. He walks in the stoic countenance of a ranger, and you see beside him a black and gray wolf stride in. He looks around sullenly. A mantle of raven's feathers around his neck.
He's not clad in armor, though.
You do not see him clad in armor.
Oh, interesting. Oh, of course. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry.
I'll tell you after.
Hey, why would any kind of special armor be needed in this wonderful age of Arcanum?
Sure. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
Hold on his boots.
Walks in, and you see this young man walk in. I will tell you, out of game, truly, this guy's probably 7th or 8th level. He doesn't. He's not glowing with tons of. He's not.
Do we all know who he is?
No.
Okay.
This guy got requested from somebody. You see that. Madara Glyph walks up and approaches your table and gestures to you. Xerxes and says, my lord, Sir Ilres, my apologies. I wished to introduce you. There's quite a curiosity here. A terrestrial champion of the matron of ravens has arrived, and I wished for him to meet Avalir's
Yes, of course.
first night.
I will be right there. One moment, please.
Very well.
I don't want to show that we're so earnest.
Of course, I meant only to say because he himself is a champion of the the Raven Queen,
Yes.
and of course our champion draws on divine source without, of course, needing any deific intermediaries. So
I will make sure that he is aware of my presence.
and she
So amped.
she wanders off.
Can I snap for 2 hobbadobs?
Yeah.
Clean the man's boots. This is the Palazzo Porco.
Right, you are, sir. And you see, they issue habitats. So you see this guy walk in, look around kind of sullenly at everyone here, and 2 brightly colored magical scarecrows come up and start mopping his feet. And he goes, I beg your pardon, and starts to move. And you see Galdrick snarls at the Hodmadads, but also Galdrick is like, do I bite this suit of empty clothing that's floating around?
But this is such a weird turn of events. We've got god stuff going on left and right here. Now there's a god guy in your house, and here's my takeaway from all this. I don't know how it's all related, and I'm desperate for you all to figure it out. But one of my new sponsors is the Market of Wonders. And maybe I could get them to sponsor a 2 or 3 article series about, how the gods are among us or something like that. The wonders of the gods meet the market of wonders or something like that. I don't know. I'm spitballing. I'll keep working on it. You guys figure out the nitty gritty of the connections here.
It definitely feels like it could be something. But there is something, the celestial, the prophecy sort of sensation you're describing in your dream does make me wonder about, should we consult with the Hall? Is it the Hall of Prophecy?
The Hall of Prophecy.
The Hall of Prophecy. I mean, the oracles there might be able to help illuminate some of the meaning of your
Well, I
dreams.
heard they're taking a little 24-hour respite because they're tired or something.
I didn't hear that. Why didn't I hear that?
I don't know. Actually, I was going to ask you there, and they heard they're just not responding.
Laren's trying to cram that bit of metal into her clutch.
Stupid tiny bag.
To Loquacious and Laren, it's strange that you haven't heard that the Hall of Prophecy is closed.
That's very weird.
It is closed.
I mean,
I haven't heard anything else.
I was just like, I don't understand why they can't just wait another 24 hours till after the replenishing to take their little vacation.
They're also the prophets. When they take a day off, they would know about it in
Is there a
advance.
precedent for that? Has that ever happened before?
There is no precedent for this.
All right, well.
Well, we should probably go and check it out.
we should.
Us ourselves?
Well,
Yes, I mean,
Well,
I have a lot with regard to the
Yeah.
replenishment
We
and
should.
other things, so...
We should.
Well, I want to go and have a word with this champion, at least.
Oh, yes.
sure. Do you need some backup? Do you need
I
some...
would like some extra eyes
Yes,
in
we'll
case you
all
notice
stand-
something that I don't.
We'll all stand nearby, kind of in a loose circle.
Right. Let's surround him, actually.
Yes, you know,
Yes, surround
but
him
he
and
won't know
step
it.
in.
Yes.
Break eye contact with him.
I wouldn't mind knowing who invited him in particular, unless you know, Paisha.
Yes, he's a guest of a member of the Silver Ring, Mage Magistrate Hollow.
Or this is the Dean Lycretia Hollow.
Jean Lucretia Hollow.
Yes.
Dean Lycrejalo, and what is their area?
Necromancy.
They are the Dean of the Throne of Necromancy.
Okay. Well, of course, I would be the one to invite him. I'm going to then step outside of our little field.
As you all go over to approach, I mean, it is sort of, it is a curiosity, certainly. You see Lycretia Hollow along with Madara Glyph and the Magister Micah Cormorant, Speaker of the Four, have all sort of gathered around
do this.
This young man, Coramar-Seelie. And as you approach, you can hear the Magister say, "Surely some great distance traveled, on foot no less. I can't imagine. It's quite a journey. And how long have you sworn this devotion to the radiant eminence, the matron of ravens?" Pervan looks out and goes, "Many long years have passed in the service of the Raven Queen, my mistress. I have come to speak on matters divine to the Septarian."
Oh.
Of course you have.
Talk to us.
You see that there is a ruffle of polite laughter, and this guy looks pissed and sad at the like look of sort of derision. You see, he says, he's like, "I understand that the Septarian is the ruling council of Avalier. Is this not correct? My understanding is that a number of artifacts may have been brought herein to the city." You see, everyone sort of looks around, confused at each other. He says, "The Septarian is what I must speak with."
I'm going to approach and try to break this up. And
I was about to start talking shit, so that's good.
I kind of got there in time to overhear some of this, and Xerxes is kind of stroking his beard. He has a beard, and in the front there's like one tightly braided, longer kind of lock. And he's kind of stroking that as he's taking in this champion, and steps forward and he says, "Champion of the Matron of Ravens, yes?"
You see, he bows his head respectfully to you. First Knight of Avalier.
First Knight of Avalier, yes. Shall I escort you away from your audience?
You see Madara looks and says, "Sir Ilres, please, well listen,
I should say, Madara.
Sorry." And you see that she looks off. Pervan looks at you and says, I appreciate the offer. I would ask if, I know that you serve the Septarian directly. You see as he speaks, Galdrick kind of nuzzles up against his leg. You see that as Madara goes silent, Magister Cormorant speaks up. And you see he says, "Champion Pervan." And you see Pervan looks over and says, "You may refer to me simply as Champion."
Oh my god.
And you see that he says, "Well, I think it quite telling that you should know that our first knight, Xerxes, is a wielder of divine magic with no devotion to any deity to speak of. He has mastered the ability to call upon the divine simply as a champion of the people of Avalier, and perhaps..."
I'm watching
Yeah.
Pervan and just wanting to see how all of this lands on him. I'm not even looking at the Magister that's talking.
Pervan is sort of taking it in. You give me an insight check if you want, yeah.
Sure. 17.
You can see Pervan is deeply uncomfortable and does not wish to be here. Mm-hmm. You see that Magister Cormorant simply says, "I simply think it interesting. You know, there's been so many upheavals in recent history. You yourself, the champion of a new deity, and our champion not needing a deity whatsoever." And you see there's sort of some polite laughter.
You, Eric.
You see Lucretia Hollow looks over at you, Paisha, and says, "It is so striking, champion, that the matron of ravens ascended to the heights of divinity, but saw fit to, of course, erase her magical research. We live in an age in which knowledge, as our Keeper of Scrolls can attest to, is shared. Seems rather interesting that the greatest arcane achievement of the age would be
Because
erased.
really
Feels
want
somehow
many gods running around.
not in the spirit of the age.
Who's saying this?
This is Dean Hollow of the College of Necromancy. Pervon looks out and says, I do not care for this conversation, nor to continue it.
It's the only conversation you're going to get, so maybe you pipe up.
The knowledge won by my mistress was hers and hers alone, and hers to do with what she willed, and she did as she willed in her ascension and in the acts to follow. I serve the goddess of death. And you see he turns and walks away, and you hear Dean Hollow call out, "She is still one of us, though, is she not?" And he stops here.
Stay at
Says,
9.
"She was one of us. She does remember from whence she came. It is not their world any longer. Why would she not welcome us behind her?" Pervon leaves the room.
Can I start applause?
Nice starts applause, and the entire
I use this applause to mask a message to Pervon, and I say, if you wish to hear more, meet in the room behind the vines.
amazing. Cool. Pervon leaves in the direction, Xerxes, that you pointed.
Great.
What is everyone doing right now? Like, in this sort of applause, as the Dean of the College of Necromancy effectively claims a member of the Prime Deities as still being on the home team.
Laren is going to start walking for the door, but I do use my my bracelet to send a sending to Nidus. I need 4 automatons in the heart right now. I have what I need, and I have very little time.
Oh, yes. Nidus is buzzing. Who's the? I grab a I grab a Habadab.
Yeah.
I grab a Habadab, and I just write down 4 automatons to heart this instant. This needs to be in the hands of Alessandro as quickly as possible.
All right, you all, sir. He rolls into a ball of fabric and flies out the window. Just flattens himself to be just like a pain, kind of magic carpeting off, and takes off into the city. Laren, you head off to the heart of the city, I
Yes.
assume?
Just
Incredible.
walking out?
I'll send you a sending on the way out that just says thank you, and take off.
Incredible. So I need to do it because it seems like there's a big moment at this party. People are scattering.
Yes.
There was some talk about the Hall of Prophecy. Pervon is still sort of walking away in a state of religious offense, right? So you're heading to the heart. Where else is everybody headed?
I do want to ask Dean Hollow one
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
After he sends off Pervon in a huff, I'll just step up and say,
Or this is Lucretia Hollow is a woman.
"Oh, sorry, Lucretia Hollow. Thank you." I'll just approach and say, "Well done. You represent the city well. I find it strange that you would care so much about anyone replicating what the matron did. No one has ever come close to such a feat, correct?"
Inquisitor Rogue.
Give me an insight check.
Let's go.
23. Not the best.
Wait a minute. What's your plus to insight?
13.
Cool. So she looks at you and says,
Actually, I have a. Wait a minute. I have.
Yeah, she looks at you and says, I'm sure I haven't the faintest idea. And the ring on your hand glows.
Pulses.
Oh my god!
Go.
Cool as fuck.
There it is. Cool. There it is. There it is.
Fair. Very fair. I hope you enjoy the champagne. I'm sure there's lots of it.
You walk away seeing the silver circlet around her neck, marking her as a member of the Ring of Silver.
Can I pull Paisha for a dance real quick?
Oh, that's so good.
We adjourn to the dance floor, and I say, Paisha, I must ask. You know that I am happy to make allowances for certain members that are perhaps not entirely recorded in the guild's records, of course.
You need not remind me.
Yes, though I must ask, everyone up until this point has been someone of influence and someone who I was happy to do a favor for. However, today I was visited by Magister Cromwell.
This would have, I believe this actually was Milas.
Oh, yes.
Milas' friend.
Milas' friend. Today I was visited by a low-level Magister Milas' friend asking for the same sort of allowances that I've been giving out to members of more esteem. So I must ask, have you been offering my services to members so low as he?
Do I recognize his name?
Give me a history check.
Well, my history's okay. 18.
Oh, wow.
Circle's been breached. Mila's friend's not one of yours. There might be some people who need to forget some stuff.
This name does not ring true in my head in the slightest. And I know everyone.
Well, and I'm going to spin her away.
I walk away pissed. Who the fuck is this guy?
And I'm going to go get 4 automatons, for an additional 4 automatons. Head back to the vault to get 4 more automatons and follow. Head to the heart
You're
after
rolling
late.
8 deep now.
Amazing.
I'm going. Well, there's the 4 that are going now. Hopefully the fabricator gets, and I'm going to make sure we get 4 additional.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah, smart.
Redundancy.
Redundancy, incredible.
No intercepts.
The guild you take off on a palanquin of automata, rushing through the city.
One last thing.
Yes.
I write Xerxes a message that I'd like to speak to him before we land, at some point.
Okay.
If you're heading out, you pass by me at some point because I'm trying to follow.
As am I.
Yeah. Cool. So you guys see Nidus after a quick dance with Paisha is rushing out, surrounded by automatons. You see there's a couple of of Harvest Moon soldiers waiting for you outside as well.
Yes.
They begin to swoop around you and make ready for some kind of business. And you do see Xerxes and Loquacious on your way out.
Xerxes.
Yes.
Brother, I wanted to say that your forthrightness has done us some good. You are a brilliant first knight, and in the position you deserve.
Well, thank you, my friend. Let me see if I can prove your words right. As we need to speak later,
course.
but I'm gonna catch up to this guy.
Yes, and I have business of my own. Yeah.
Xerxes, keep up.
Cool. Guildmaster of the Golden Scythe takes off to go grab automata. You're like going through Excelsior Square. It's a zoo. It's the eve of the replenishment, and you're like fighting through Excelsior Plaza to get to your automata. You rush down back to the heart of Avalier with a fragment of extraplanar gold. You two are rushing off after Pervon, right?
Yes.
Paisha, you've just found some news about a little breach in the circle.
So as Paisha is still at her party, standing under this immaculate tree that Nidus graced my presence with, and she's just kind of standing there, and it's like one of those shots where she's still and everything is buzzing around her like in fast motion, and she casts Detect Thoughts, and she's like ice cold in her face, just kind of almost like the fixture of this party, and she's just gonna go bing, 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 and just bounce around and just like listen. Yes.
Ooh, go ahead. I'm gonna ask for an investigation check, and I'm gonna ask for it with advantage.
All right.
Yes.
I'm gonna set a pretty low DC here. You got the psychic power.
Weak.
We're gonna need that low DC.
Weak.
Yes,
Thank God.
DC.
12.
Wasn't that low?
Wasn't that low?
Level 14.
It'd be that way sometimes.
You begin to move through the party. You're looking for somewhat, like, I think you like zero in on Madara Glyph. You're like, you've been annoying the hell out of me recently. And you see her like, I do love a gala. This one, and you see you're like zeroing in on her. You're listening for someone. You're like, where did the circle get breached? Somebody here talked when they knew they shouldn't. You hear a voice in your detect thoughts, but the voice is quiet. Like it's someone whispering to themselves in their own mind. Do you turn to look to see who it is?
I just kind of look in the periphery, barely tilting my head as little as I can.
As little as you can. You see a wobbling Hadmadad who has stopped serving drinks. Just sort of wobbling there.
Fuck this. Not my little scarecrows. I didn't bring, because I didn't mean to bring 700 of them.
Sort of wobbling there. It's like not serving. You see the tray kind of lists to one side and comes back. And you see, with your detect thoughts, these are automata. They're not sentient. Listening through detect thoughts. Godrenis. And you see the tray clatters to the ground, and the Hadmadad disanimates and is a pile of clothing on the floor, soaking up the champagne.
What is happening?
I'm going to clock this because I've been keeping track of not just Dean Lucretia Hollow, but also Bola's bitch ass. And then an automaton just dropping into fabric on the
I
floor.
would make eye contact with Sarah and be like, go.
Break on it.
Break on it. Cool. You go grab that Hadmadad, sweep it off the floor. See a nearby mage is like, looks like that Hadmadad's having a little too much to himself. Adeline! And
that's my best friend.
This is his best friend. Nothing's gonna cramp my style. You see, you grab the Hadmadad, take off into the wings. So, Excelsior Plaza, into the heart, run off into a back room with this disenchanted thing. You're still sort of holding court here. We cut to our two outside, following Pervon.
Sir Soul! Pervon!
Champion.
He turns to look at you when you say champion.
And I meet him. I'm not running. I'm not trying to make it seem like
I'm running.
Yes. But I'm stepping towards him with a sense of authority.
Yeah, Goldrick. You see the wolf. The wolf steps around and goes. The wolf growls a little bit. He turns around and says. Turns around and says, "May I help you?"
Well, I've come to ask that of you.
Please don't leave in a huff. Some of our allies back there, and I don't even want to say allies, some of the other guests were rude to you and
arrogant.
We just came to apologize.
Go ahead, Loquacious. Give me a persuasion check, and with Xerxes at your side, go ahead and give me it with advantage.
Oh my god.
Well, maybe. With advantage?
Yeah.
Okay. 29. The first one was only a 20.
Pervon turns to look at you and says, I fear you make your home in a nest of vipers, gentlemen. I cannot speak highly of my experience thus far in the City of Crowns.
Well, you're mistaken at least on one count. This is not my home. We are approaching it. And I'm ready to have a very different kind of conversation with you, if you are willing.
Speak your mind, First Knight.
What brings you here? You seem to have come with some urgency and some concern.
Very recently, I have come into the awareness that my mistress feels a concern. Something is moving upon the face of Exandria. Something that for the moment eludes even her sight. Her counsel brought me to Vasselheim, but my search was drawn short when I arrived at the sanctum of Vespin Chloris.
Did you meet him?
No. He had gone missing by the time I arrived.
But you arrived at the site where he attempted this rite?
Here you see Pervon looks surprised. You just said something Pervon did not know.
Oops. I will cast Gift of Gab.
That spell.
What does that do?
I take it back.
Yep. It's a
No shit.
Rewind.
Yes, yep. Yes, yep.
You see, he. So in other words, that is like a vision that you have of the future that is quickly drawn back, and you see he goes, "Wow, I cannot long remain in this place. My heart belongs back in Isilra. There are still answers waiting for me in Vasselheim. I came here to attempt to find reason amongst the mages of this place. There is precious little to find here."
You may be incorrect about that. The mages can be helpful, but only if you know the way in which to approach them. We can help in that matter if you give us some information we can pass along to them. Be a conduit for your matron.
I came to Vasselheim in search of answers, and I believe some answers may have come aboard your city back during its stay there. The auguries which I used brought me here, but with little detail in the way of what I sought, so I came to ask the aid of mages. What I can tell you in this moment. Here he stops to consider what he honestly feels like sharing in a city that he has some reason to distrust. He says, "It is the belief of my mistress that something very reckless may have been attempted. Many have sought to recreate the miracle of my mistress's ascension. Foolishly, and it has ended poorly for them all, or at least for those powerful enough to begin what they could not finish. It is my belief, based on the counsel of my goddess. The Archmage Chloris attempted something wholly different. Not a recreation, but something new. Something much riskier and more foolhardy.
Riskier than an ascension to godhood?
The god of death that ruled over that domain, whose name my mistress sundered and removed from the fabric of reality itself. What complaint could he offer for his own demise that would not be hypocrisy? God of death, dying can hardly be said to be an aberration. It is my mistress's belief that Vespin did not orient his attentions in the direction of any of her or the counsel she keeps. By which I mean to say that she has already conferred with each and every one of the prime deities. None of them felt an attempt on their domains or any of their power, and yet a ripple was felt.
Aiming for a different sort of a god.
We can imagine no other directions. If divinity was sought, and none of my mistress's counsel could offer insight, I need not tell you there are precious few options left. I will tell you this, friend. Hopefully, I have not given this wisdom foolishly. You understand the implications of what I now tell you. If we are correct in what Vespin's focus was, then it is deeply troubling. The lack of sight into what may occur. Even more so.
Forgive me, champion. I must implore you to speak plainly. And not in riddles. What do you think happened? And tell it clearly, please, so that I too may be clear on it.
Every mortal mage who has attempted to recreate the Raven Queen's ascension has attempted to do as she did.
Right.
Ascend.
Yes.
To a prime deity, strike them from their throne and take their place, erasing their name. Vespin is a better mage than any other who has attempted, and we know that he did not commit that same folly. We do not know for certain what happened, but having removed what we know did not, leaves us afraid.
Okay. And just so we're clear here, you wouldn't be comfortable with like a one-on-one sit-down interview or like just an exclusive. I could get some really great illustrations made.
Good
of
luck
you.
with your pit of vipers. I truly wish that we all may come out from under this shadow. And
Free advice, change your first name.
You see, he goes, it's normal where I come from. And you see, he turns, his wolf vanishes in a blur of magic as he, in a movement of raven's wings, vanishes and disappears.
I'll pick up one of the raven feathers that fell on the floor and just sort of, that guy needs a PR makeover.
You left quite the impression. What I don't understand is why he didn't just say that he attempted to ascend to the place of a betrayer god.
He's not ascending. He's descending. He's trying to awaken a betrayer god and
To take their place.
awaken them somehow.
Awaken them.
Yes. Yes, give them some sort of volition to break free of wherever they are. I don't know. Do God knows what? Well, God knows what, huh? That's a good title. Do God knows what? Well, God knows what, huh? That's a good title.
We're going to cut from here. So, thankfully, you guys have scattered the party, which is great for me. Love that.
Yeah.
Sarah,
On the top level. Yeah.
you find a quick room to yourself. Quiet, off to one side. Small chamber in the Palazzo Porco. As you look at the Hadmadad disanimated, what do you do? Describe to me what it is you want to do.
So I have an ability that allows me to an eye for detail. It allows me to make a perception check to spot a hidden creature or object to make an investigation, uncover, or decipher clues or anything that might be hidden. So I'll spread it out on the floor.
Yeah.
But then take a step back above it. My crest starts to feather out, and I'll take a look just at first at what I see, and then push in closer.
You take a look closer here. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Okay. And I'll also, just because, I'll also use Unerring Eye, which allows me to sense the presence of illusions, shape changers not in their original form, or other magic designed to deceive the senses within 30 feet. So investigation. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's a 31.
Woo! Kind of.
Okay.
That's a dirty 18. Yeah.
You look at this Hadmadad down on the ground, disanimated. Something's wrong. And on a 31,
31.
you're not alone in this room. Invisibility is a pretty beloved power. It's easy to get. Even very junior mages can master it. The problem with invisibility is light is very important for a number of functions. And no matter how cloaked you might be in it, you can't make your whole self invisible. Even if it's smaller than a pinprick, you need just enough of your eyes to stay visible that light can hit them and you can still see. Now, perceiving a fraction of a pupil hanging in space, smaller than a grain of sand, would be beyond most people. But you've been trained to look for them because they always move in two.
Unlike your eyes.
You
Might be combat next.
look up
Next
in a
time.
mirror in the chamber, and you can see behind you, smaller than grains of sand, there are two pupils.
I go about my normal business, bring my eyes down from the mirror, continue with the items, and I will slowly reach under my arms and unsheath both of my hawks. And as fast as I can, I'll spin and not only draw both of the hawks, but my wings come out.
Oh,
Yes. For the first time in this campaign, go ahead and give me an attack roll. And you can go ahead and give me a stealth. You don't even need a bonus action for it, but give me a stealth to see if you can hide the drawing of the axes.
21 for stealth.
Okay. Copy that.
Okay.
Go ahead and make the attack roll with advantage.
With advantage.
Oh my god.
Oh. It's 18 both times, so a 25 to hit.
You absolutely hit. You are going to roll sneak attack on this.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that?
Sixes.
Is that 8d6s?
It's 7d6.
7.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that's 24 points of damage.
You rolled 1 6.
No, I know. I did it because I mean I could do 7. You know what?
No.
No. You know what? I have him here.
it,
I
do
have him
it.
here. Why not? I should just do it.
Yeah, come on.
Let's hear the noise.
I've never rolled this many fucking. Hold on.
Let's go.
Okay.
Do that math.
15. 23. 25 points.
You whip around. You see where the eyes are, so you don't need to even see where the neck is. If the eyes are that far apart, right there. The first thing that becomes visible is the blood hitting the wall, and you hear the drop before the spell fades.
Oh my god.
This person went from being invisible to being dead and didn't have time to register what was happening. You see a body materialize out of invisibility. Chunks of skin carved off of a shaved head. Lips carved off of a face.
What?
Wearing rags covered in infernal runes. A mortal man who nonetheless is stitched together with orange irises and bloodshot eyes staring out of a dead face. You hear behind you from the mirror. You will never reach the Wild Mother's embrace in time. Are you looking for something? You turn around, and in the mirror you see a shape. In mist, swimming in the fog. In the mutilated face of Vespin Chloris. Reaches forward, hits the other side of the mirror, the glass cracks, and the face is gone. And the crack remains as you see your own image behind the shattered glass in the reflection. And that's all for this episode. That's all for this episode of Exandria Unlimited Calamity. Tune in next week. Let's see if things get better.
Yeah,
That's the sign off.
Do I do more? Should I do more of a? Do you want me to do more of a story about that?
See you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
That's all.
Oh, we had with. Is it Thursday?
Oh, is it Thursday? There you go. There you go. Is it Thursday? Oh, I love it.
That was a thing. At least, barely. Now we still have a face to go to the name. What is the meaning of this? We'll have to find out. Next time on Exandria Unlimited Calamity. Hope you join me next week when I react to Part 2. This is Rina Rivenextra, at Elven YouTuber. I wish the good